Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. He's played bigot, and I have a balanced rack, a couple of non-bingo-y tiles in the F and the Y. I do have the FY ending. So let me consider the floaters. I'm not seeing a 7 with this rack. Nothing with the B. I don't think Rosinify is good. Possibly Resinify. G, I would have the ING ending. Not seeing anything there. How about the O? Nothing there. And how about the T? No, I'm not seeing anything. So how can I get rid of the F and the Y? Well, I think the best spot for that is here. Not providing any floaters, taking out most of the existing floaters and leaving a decent rack leave. Pretty good. That looks like there is a 7-letter bingo here. I think Chinars, which goes to make bigots. I have a slight doubt about that, but I think it's good. I have another spot for that here, which is a better spot since it gets doubled. This may come off Chinars for 86. And it's good. Fantastic. And I'm rewarded with this horrendous rack. UUW, one of the worst triplicates to have. Through an E, I would have Unwept. And the real challenge here is getting rid of 2 of the 3. Through a D, I could actually get rid of all 3 of them with Voodoo. But even getting rid of 2 is a challenge, especially on a board like this with very few floaters. I have whipped in column 2, keeping 2 U's but scoring well. I am expecting my opponent to play around this sea of Chinars. It's a pretty hot spot. Maybe I should have spent a little longer on that Chinars move. It may have an anagram. I'm thinking perhaps Archins, although that wouldn't have been better. Placing an A next to this double letter square would increase the likelihood of a high-scoring tile being placed there. And I don't think I properly considered column 8 for an 8-letter play ending in T. But just a quick consideration right now is not causing anything to come to mind. Anyway, no opportunity to change that choice of move now. And it may well have been the best play in any event. So what if opponent does play around Chinars and blocks whipped? What can I do? Well, my W can still go in this spot, but I don't think I can get it to play twice. I have 2-2 for a very low score, 8 points. I think I'd rather change than do that. So just a tricky spot to be in here. I do have a lead, which is good. Just reconsidering this W spot. It would have to be a vertical play. Not seeing anything. So what's the most I can get for U2? Or 2-2? Not very much. Gua takes a D at the end. I'm not aware of any front extensions to Acetin. I'm just wondering whether to change, and I'm feeling that maybe I should. What about plays through the Eye of Chinars? So I have input. That might be just about better than changing, keeping UWI 14 points. This is probably worth close to 14 points. I'm going to change, and I'll keep INT. Well, that hasn't worked out fabulously. One of those U's would now have been quite useful. Through a U, I would have a caveat. I do have chi, and in row J, which actually would leave quite a nice rack cleave, although the V is not a particularly nice tile, and one's instinct is to take against it. EINVT is quite nice. Opponent blocks that spot inadvertently, so I can still play chin, but I can't get the Q to play twice. Wow, just 12 points. A change followed by just 12 points. I'm thinking about changing again. I do still lead. This is a tricky rack to play through. I really can't score very much with the Q that I can see. And I could play invite. 22 points, keeping the Q, gifting opponent the triple word square. Do I have anything through IN? No, no C's for sank. I'm changing again. And I'll keep Tyne, slightly vowel heavy, but a nice set of 4 tiles. So through a B, I would have IN bite. And this was the risk in retaining an equal number of vowels and consonants. I do now have a vowel heavy rack, but I will not be changing again. This is easily capable of being played through with the Y as a scoring tile. The way the board's set up means that although it's quite good for bingos, it's not particularly good for non-bingos. So do I have any bingos with this rack? I don't think I do. Not seeing a 7, and very few floaters, just the T of bigot and I and N of a seat-in. But to sort the rack out, I really only need to play off EY. Even that might be a challenge. It is a challenge. Well, I have yeah and AE. Okay, so 18 points for opponent. Do either of these floaters help? The A certainly doesn't. What about the L? Don't think so. Now, how about a play in row H, getting the Y doubled? And pretty much all my tiles go underneath the A. But I'm not seeing a 5-letter play with the Y in second place. I could play teeny. For about 30 points, so that's certainly better than playing yeah. Although not massively better. Just pausing in case there is a 5-letter play with a Y in second place that I've overlooked, but it's not coming to mind. Do I have something better than teeny? It's a shame to burn both E's. So I'm looking for, well, I have Yenti, actually the same tiles, but a slightly higher score, 32 points. I'm going with this. Wow, pretty good. I have the Q and the V back again, but I have the blank and I have a U, and that makes it a much better rack. There could be a bingo here, and I do now have a few floaters to consider. I think there are maybe more 9s than 8s with this rack, and there may be no 8s. Wow, nice bingo for opponent, 78 points. He goes into a 30-point lead. Untemper will take an S at the end. And all, well, I was going to say all 4 S's. There are 3 S's outstanding plus a blank. So, what to do here? Do I have a play which gets the Q tripled without using the blank? Not quite. That would have been a pretty big score if I could. What about getting the Q tripled elsewhere? Well, this rack isn't proving quite as fabulous as I thought it might be. So I could just play Quip, 30 points. I think I should play off the Q. Well, maybe I should play off the V first. Can I get the V tripled? Not seeing a way of doing that. Gosh. Maybe I should burn the blank and play Quark. I'm really worried about opponent having an S. He leads by 30 points. I would have Equivalve through an E and a V. So, why don't I play Quiner? It's 48 points, retaining the blank, and splitting up Q and V. Can I do better? I was just wondering about playing Keylight, but I don't quite have the tiles for that. I'm going with this. Well, that's a shame. I'm moving further away from bingo territory, and I don't draw an S. And that was my concern. Fortunately, only 46 points. Could have been worse with a bingo. And I now trail by 20. But I have a nice X spot with ticks. Can I do better? And I'm mindful of the fact that the F and the V go together particularly badly. So if I could play Fox or Vox or Voxel, that would split up F and V. But I have to score enough to justify that, and Tix is scoring over 50 points. And I'm not seeing any super hot spots. Just looking to see if I've got a 4-letter play with the F. Flix doesn't play in that spot. So there are F and V spots. I could play Voxel. Only about 25. It's just scoring too little. So I'm going with Tix for 53. Wow, more misery. As soon as you see a blank, you're expecting to bingo that turn or possibly the turn after. And often when the blank stays on your rack for a lot of turns, it means that you've missed a bingo. But this is about as far away from a bingo as one is likely to get. Good score for opponent. He maintains his lead. And the board tightening up in terms of access to the board. Look at this sweep around here. The whole of the top left of the board is dead. The E is a massively useful floater, but opponent could extinguish that with almost anything. So what to do? I think the thing to do is to keep scoring, because I'm not so far behind that I need a bingo. How can I do that? And looking at this rack, my immediate thought is to play flock, but I'm not seeing anywhere for that. I've also got Volk on my rack. I'm just wondering if Quiner takes an L. I think it's just an S, otherwise I could play Lock. Dex takes a Y. No Y's to come. Do I have anything ending A, Y? Flay? What about taking out this E? Not seeing anything good there. I can't do anything great parallel to DWEEB. 8 minutes on my clock. Wow, that is not very much. Kif is good. I just don't have any OK words, otherwise I could play in row G or I could play in row N. OK itself is good, but then the rack leave is horrendous. Seven minutes on my clock. Maybe I should change again. I've got the blank. The best I can see is something like Flay for 20 points, keeping CKV. Maybe I should do that because I'm so close to my opponent in terms of score, and I am keeping the vowel, and C and K have some synergy. Flay for 20, and this is not giving much away. I draw the J. I do, however, have a new or an additional vowel, which is good. Opponent gets 25, so he's still about 20 points ahead. Seven minutes on my clock. Still no OK words apart from OK. I could play Jack, but that takes an E. I can play Jack. 34 points, and although an S can go at the end, I don't think that's massively dangerous. 6 minutes on my clock. I'm going with this. Great, I draw two S's. In fact, there are no other S's, so this spot is available just for me. It takes an S and a Y. And I have a slight lead. I would have Voussoir through the right floater. An O or an R. So I have Viz at the top for over 30 points. Opponent might be worried about that spot. Vom is good, but I have nothing down here. Yeah, opponent taking that out wisely and going into a 10-point lead. This is a tight game. Still 17 tiles to come. Now, this is a bingo lane in row N. I don't have a bingo this turn, I don't think. I don't have time to run through the alphabet. So where can I play my V and U? And can I open the board up? I'm thinking about playing just Vom, playing the long game. That takes out a hot spot for opponent. He may struggle to score. Okay, now I am getting vowels. Row N available. Wow, 40-point play for opponent. That is painful. How can I get rid of this wretched U and one of the I's? Bez takes nothing after it. 5 minutes on my clock. So I could play SI for 18 points. Let me check the remaining vowel situation. 8 out of 21. That makes this less dangerous. And I can have a play ending OUS in row N. Psi for 18. So I have impious. There is nowhere for that on this board. Column 8 is available for a bingo ending UTS, so a play ending OUTS. I could play pi, bottom right. Opponent may go there. 12 tiles in the bag, 4 minutes on my clock. So frustrating that I haven't been able to open the top left of the board. I just haven't seen a way of being able to do that. Column 4 available for bingos ending in B. Not many of those. I don't think I have any bingos beginning with I because I have 2 I's on my rack. I could play IO and OB. Pretty desperate stuff. Only takes a G and it's retaining the U, which is really wearisome. Opponent takes out that bingo lane. Scores 20 points. He's in a strong position. 8 tiles in the bag. 4 minutes on my clock. I'm just looking for ways to open the top of the board. I think I will play IO. 7 points. I think I do. Wow, fantastic. I do draw the G. IO takes a B and a G in front. Opponent's got to be worried about that. Now, column 9 is a bingo lane for bingos ending LS. Can't see anything there. I've got Gwyn Epps on my rack. That doesn't play. No bingo lane in row F. Do I have a bingo ending? I have spewing. Okay, great. That's the anagram of Gwyn Epps. That does play in column 2 right now. What's opponent going to do about that? Interesting. Remaining tiles are all bingo-y, but there are no E's or S's, and there are a lot of R's, so probably doesn't have a bingo. If he does, I'll have a lot of floaters with an interesting looking rack. And if opponent bingos, he'll be emptying the bag. Mind you, his current lead of 30 points means he may survive even if I bingo back. Row E available for bingos ending FE. Nothing available at the bottom now. Just wondering if I have an alternative to spewing. I am going to look for sevens. Not sure about pudgies. It doesn't play in any event. Likewise with puggies. Okay, so opponent wisely and well takes out that spot. One tile in the bag. 3 minutes on my clock. Do I have a play ending LS? Well, I think the thing to do is to play off one tile and leave that alone. So let me play just ut. Is that the right tile to play off? I think it is. I'll probably draw an R. I don't. So I've now got 3 minutes on my clock. I created a new bingo lane. I'm sure I've surely got something across there. I'm not even going to look for that. Well, Gaspia. Do I have a bingo ending LS? So I'm imagining this rack with an L. Not seen anything yet. Still nothing. This rack plus an L. What about this? So an anagram of elapsing, leapings, peelings. Not seeing anything. Spoliage or spoilage. That doesn't work. 9 minutes on opponent's clock. This isn't looking good. No, and I think opponent can easily kill this UT lane with a 2-letter play. He's played more than that. He has created a new lane. Is it one I can use? I've got 3 minutes to find a bingo, which runs over the top. Is peasing good? I think it is. For 91. And it is. Fantastic. Well, what an end to the game. So, final scores, 404 for my opponent, 439 for me. That's a winning margin of 35 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. That is crazy. That is absolutely insane. Okay, so I was just feeling sorry for myself for losing another game, and I didn't lose it. Opponent was to play first, and this is what he did. He played bigot, my rack, and foy looks best. Opponent's rack, loads of vowels, plays OE, and my rack. And I played Chinars, K1, that's where I played it, and that was the only playable bingos, so I don't think there can have been any anagrams of that. Opponent's rack, no bingo, plays a seat in, and now begins a series of racks of, well, not indescribable misery, because that's overstating it, but just pretty crappy racks. That's probably a better way of characterizing them. And I changed here, and if you ignore these scores and look down the rack leaves, they're all pretty horrendous. Then if you look at the scores, they're all pretty mediocre. So I am content with changing. Opponent's rack, he plays nay. And now I change again, and it's a similar situation. All of these rack leaves are pretty unappealing, and the scores, nothing to write home about. So I'm content with changing. Opponent's rack plays nuller, and I play, well, I play Yenti, and I could have played Yenta and should have done, because EI is a better rack leave than AI. Opponent's rack plays Untemper, could have played Erumpent. Now, did I miss something here? No. And Quiner looks best because it retains the blank, and the other higher scoring plays burn the blank, but only for an extra 20 points, and the blank's worth about 25. Opponent's rack plays Midges, and at this point I trail by about 20, which isn't a big deficit given that I've got the blank. Plus, I'm about to play Ticks for 53, and although I could have got one more for XI, which I didn't consider, that creates access to the triple word square bottom right, so I prefer Ticks. And then, as soon as you look at options which burn the F or V as well, you're dropping about 20 points, which wasn't merited. Opponent's rack plays Doob, which really keeps the pressure on me. I'm now trailing by about 15, and the board is tightening up. K11, OK, and Cop, good score. Horrendous rack leave, but the score's good on a tight board, so maybe I should have done that. Instead I play Flay for fewer points, but retaining the O and opening the board up, and given that I have a blank, I wanted to do that. Opponent plays War, creating a new lane, and now I play Jack for 34. Opponent's rack, and he wanted to block the Jack's spot and does so quite well. And now we are really close, only 10 points between us. And B12. Oh wow, WOS. Nice. I play VOM for 16. Yeah, probably WOS would have been better, although that would have been retaining UV, which I didn't want to do. Anyway, opponent's rack. He plays ZE, and now I'm starting to feel discouraged. I'm 30 or 40 points behind on a very tight board. I mean, look at this. Where are the bingo lanes? Nowhere. Missed bingo. Wow, Simius, N3. That is precisely the sort of bingo I was looking for, beginning with S, ending OUS. It was there. Wow. What a difference that would have made. That would have made the remaining removes much more comfortable, I think, because of the tightness of this board. What a miss. Instead I play SI, overlooking WIS. So sacrificing 16 points in the process. And now I trail by about 16 points, and this is opponent's rack. He plays Veil, extinguishing that bingo lane, and now this is my rack. And I play IO to create a new bingo lane, and that's set in tow the chain of the sequence of turns which resulted in the game ending as it did. So I trail by 30. This is opponent's rack. He plays Tauran, which I thought was the end, effectively the end of the game. Wow, there a missed bingo here. E9, Pulsage through the L. Wow, that would have been fantastic, but I missed it. Instead, I make a Hail Mary play of UT, creating a new bingo lane in row D whilst keeping alive the column 9 bingo lane. And this was opponent's rack. And he plays Torrid, which looks pretty good. However, I am now able to bingo, but if he just played IT, using the blank as an I, he probably would have won. So this is my rack. And look at that, Peasing was the only bingo. I thought for a while there were probably several, but I thought Peasing was enough, so I put it down. And it was, in fact, the only one. So, wow, absolutely amazing end to the game. And, well, completely unexpected. I was resigned to losing running into that final sequence. But quite a strange game. I really got bogged down with a lot of interesting racks fairly early on, and the board just tightened up and tightened up. There were a couple of missed bingos, but they were tricky ones to spot and in tricky places. And it looked like I was going to win, but then right at the end, opponent plays Torrid, gifting me a 5-tile overlap bingo, and it was all over, and I triumphed. So absolutely fantastic stuff. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.